We are here with Lydia Walker from Clarksville, Tennessee, so we're excited to have someone from our own state today. She is a singer and songwriter and has just released her 7th CD, Beloved. So we're really excited to have her talk with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on this and for being part of your awesome new website.
Oh, thank you. Well, first tell us just how you got started singing and songwriting. I think I read that you started when you were 12.
Yes, I started playing guitar and writing songs when I was 12, and now I'm 20, so it's been 8 years, and I think just each year it gets better and better. Try to write better songs and just write about the things that I go through in my life and things that I learn along the way.
Cool. I noticed in your latest album, Beloved, that you had a couple of songs that really speak to girls specifically. Can you talk about kind of the message that you were hoping to get across there to girls and what they should know?
Definitely. I am a strong supporter of modesty and purity and just trying to live your life holy for God. And I think we can do that in a variety of ways. But in my music, I try to encourage people to look to God for what His calling is on their life. And so I think especially for girls, we need to know that God sees us as beautiful, even though sometimes we see our flaws and see the things that we would want to change. He made us specifically how we are for a reason, and He thinks we're beautiful just the way we are.
Awesome. That's really neat. And that's something that is a goal of Unfading, to help us discover our identity and where that comes from. So it's really, really neat to hear you say that. What inspires you when you're writing songs? How do you get your inspiration?
I think some of my best songs come from some of the hardest times that I go through. And so during the good times when I'm busy and I'm happy and doing lots of stuff, I don't write as much. But when something really hard comes through, it helps me to express it and it helps me get through it, to write about it. Mm-hmm. And so I think the songs come from places of learning to trust God, learning to rely on Him, and to encourage people who are going through the same things.
Yeah, definitely. You talked a little bit about beauty. I think that's a real problem in our culture because we have so many different voices telling us what beautiful is. What is your advice to girls about figuring that out, how they can define their beauty and where to get it?
You know, we all struggle with that just as much, and sometimes you don't know. The prettiest girl you might think has no flaw at all is probably looking in the mirror just like you and picking out things that she would change about herself. So I think it is very much in our head. It's a mental thing of just telling ourselves what God says about us, and that helps me overcome some of those insecurities.
Definitely. You have a favorite scripture verse that you go to for that? Is there any particular? I mean, I know there are probably several. Yeah. It's hard to come up with one.
There are several, but I have kind of a life verse that I go with that goes with everything that I do, and it's James 1:17 that says, "Every good and perfect gift comes from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no shadow of turning." And it's so encouraging to me because every gift that He has given us, we can give back to Him. Mm-hmm. And so whatever our calling is or whatever our gifts are, I think He's given us a specific way to use that.
Definitely. And you talked about purity as well, those two messages, beauty and purity. What keeps you talking about that in a world that says, why bother with purity? I mean, I think, we see on the media and all that, it just is not valued anymore by a lot of people. What keeps you, what's important about that?
It's a very rare thing for anybody to just set themselves apart from the world and not be sucked into, oh, this is what you have to look like, this is what you have to do to be cool, and it's easy to get pulled into that. And like I said before, just being focused on God can really help us not be focused on ourselves and not be focused on what the world says is the way to do things. So to stay pure, I think we really have to look towards God because He is the perfect example of purity. And when we're choosing to do something, we can ask, is this something that is going to glorify God, or is this something that I want? That's a good way to kind of measure that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, how can we find out more about your music? If girls want to go and listen to it, where can they learn more about you and your music?
Yeah, well, you're already on the website, so you can probably link over to my website, lydiawalkermusic.com. And I'm also on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, so you can find me all over on the web, and the website has links to all of that, so lydiawalkermusic.com.
Excellent. And she has some very fun YouTube videos. You should definitely check those out.
Thank you.
Very awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, for joining us, and for sharing your message with the girls. So,
Thank you for what you're doing, and I think it's really great, and I hope a lot of people are encouraged by it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.